Hello, my name was, and always will be, Dave Gorman. I'm here to talk about my book, which is called Dave Gorman versus the Rest of the World. It's not as combative as that title makes it sound. It's about playing games. I think this is my third Cheltenham Literary Festival, and they've always been very nice, sweet audiences, so I'm hoping for much of the same. It should be fun. The good thing about this is the book came out 2 or 3 months ago, so I've done a few readings, I've got it under my belt, I kind of know what I'm doing, but I always like to mix it up and have as much Q&A as possible, because often at these things they get a journalist to ask you some questions, and they ask you the kind of questions that journalists want to know the answers to, and then people come up to the signing and they ask loads of different questions, and I worked out ages ago, actually it's much better if they just ask the questions they want to know in front of you, in front of the rest of them, and so I do as much of that as possible, and it makes it more fun for me as well, because it means each one's different. I don't think I've been heckled in about 8 years. It just doesn't happen. When I'm doing what I do for a living, when I'm doing one of my shows, I don't leave space. I hardly stop to breathe, so no one really heckles me when I'm doing that. And with these, it's a kind of, anyone heckling someone who's reading from a book is an idiot. That just makes no sense whatsoever. It's fairly obvious what's happening next. The book that most made me laugh out loud, and it's been out for a very long time now, is Who on Earth is Tom Baker? Which is a biography of Tom Baker, and I'm not a Doctor Who fan. I've never really been into Doctor Who, so it's not that kind of science fiction kind of geek thing. It's just, you don't know whether he's trying to be funny or not most of the time. I suspect he is. The opening section is like a trailer for a movie. He talks about going for a meal in a restaurant in New Zealand where he's there to do some highly paid advert, where he's put on his Doctor Who scarf and taken the shilling, and then this guy asks him, there's a guy in the bar who would like to have a drink with you, and he declines because he thinks, well, I can afford to buy my own drink, and if I accept a drink from a Doctor Who fan, I have to talk to him for 45 minutes, and it's not really worth it. So he declines 3 or 4 times, in between musing about whether or not the waiter is Anthony Hopkins and deciding he's really quite in love with Anthony Hopkins, and then goes through eventually and meets this fella, and as he walks through he sees this man and says, and it was my son, Piers, and it all came flooding back to me, and I remembered trying to kill Marjorie, and I remembered this and I remembered that. And if you don't want to read the rest of the book after that and work out why on earth he wanted to kill someone and how he didn't know he had a son in New Zealand, then you're not human. And from that point on, every 2 pages you open the book at, you can find a sentence that will make you laugh. I once sat with the comedian Chris Addison and said, name a number from whatever it was, page 17 to page 357, and whatever number he chose, I could open it, and on those 2 pages I could find a sentence, just a sentence, that would make him laugh, and I succeeded for half an hour.